Could this day get any worse? Oh my God.
So it's no secret that this has been a bad year for movies. People just aren't going to the theater. Legacy sequels are failing, superhero movies that are starring crazy people are tanking,
The Mad Goose Wizard,
and live-action remakes are being forgotten as quickly as they come out. And even though I was intrigued by the trailers of Oppenheimer, I was very cautious. After all, this is a Christopher Nolan movie, and despite having respect for him on a technical level, the last few movies of his have been a miss for me. Tenet, while ambitious, was sloppy. Dunkirk suffered from his non-linear story style, and Interstellar, while technically brilliant, had a lackluster story. But Oppenheimer has a great cast, and is about an era of history that I love. So I decided I would put all my hopes in this movie and go see it. So is Oppenheimer the triumph I was hoping for? Well, put on your welding goggles, kids, because that's what we're going to talk about today. So Oppenheimer stars Cillian Murphy as Robert Oppenheimer, theoretical physicist, hat enthusiast, and father of the atomic bomb. After scientists discover that it's possible to split an atom, an arms race begins with the Soviet Union, the United States, and Germany, all of whom are desperate to be the first to build an atomic bomb. This eventually takes Oppenheimer and his crew of Manhattan Project scientists to the desert of New Mexico, because if Mr. Beast has taught us anything, it's that the desert is the best place to blow stuff up. After 2 years of testing, traveling, and ethical pondering, the bomb is completed, and as we all know, it is eventually used to stop World War II. The movie then explores Oppenheimer's life after the bomb drops, his personal conflictions about creating such a weapon, and the geopolitical fallout in a world where atomic bombs now exist. And honestly, all I can really say about the movie is that it's fantastic. I'll start with what I loved about the technical side of the movie, and just say that there's no CGI in this movie anywhere. Not one frame of film uses a single CGI component, and I love it. Now, I have nothing against CGI on the face of it. I understand why it's become so popular, and why it's so heavily relied on. But there's something so satisfying and pleasing to the eye about seeing an effect that is done all in camera. It's like you can feel that it's real, and it really makes a difference in a movie like this. I'm not sure if that makes any sense, but it's really the only way that I can put it. Another great achievement in this movie is its tonal consistency. This movie is a biopic, but it's also a historical drama, courtroom thriller, and even an abstract art film at times. But despite all of this, there's nothing that feels out of place. Being an amalgam of all these genres and still being able to make it feel like its own movie is an achievement that should not be overlooked. And finally, the acting is some of the best you will ever see, and it's done by some of the best that will ever do it. Everyone in this movie is great, and when I say everyone, I mean everyone! From the principal cast down to the smallest speaking roles, every actor brings their A game. But the two biggest standouts are, without question, Cillian Murphy and Robert Downey Jr. Cillian Murphy is absolutely fantastic in this, and I think it's his best role that he's ever done. He brings a lot of weight and heaviness to the part in an effortless way. He achieves it through a lot of nuance and a lot of subtlety, and there's no reason to think he shouldn't be considered for an Oscar this year. And Robert Downey Jr. is so good. If you're old enough, then you know that RDJ has always been a great actor, but for those of a certain generation, he's pretty much only been Tony Stark. But in this movie, we get to see RDJ really stretch his legs and be in a role that many aren't accustomed. He's not funny, there are no jokes, no one-liners, and no sarcasm, but none of that matters. He still brings a great performance to this role, and honestly, I think he could get his second Oscar nomination with this movie as well. And actually, he has a very good chance at winning, I think. If there's one thing that people won't like, it's that the movie is 3 hours long. I've heard some people say that they really could feel that runtime, but honestly, I didn't. I was really engaged the whole time, so the runtime didn't bother me at all. But this runtime is why I suggest you see it in an IMAX if possible. That way, you get the most out of the time investment in this movie. And if you don't have an IMAX close by, then find the best screen around and go see it there. I saw it in a Dolby Cinema screen, which still offers a great sound and picture experience. So I would recommend that as an alternative if IMAX isn't an option. In the end, I really can't say enough good things about this movie. I really think you should see it as quickly as possible before it leaves the theater.